New today, US President Donald Trump is changing the name of the Department of Defense to the Department of War as part of a so-called warrior ethos. Joining me now is Democrat strategist Jim Kessler. Jim, good morning. Always good to see you. What's your take on this historic move?
Well, the question is it really going to change America's stance? So America has always been a reluctant warrior, walk softly, carry a big stick, reluctantly entering wars overseas. We've never been an imperialist nation seeking land from other countries. Is this just a change of name, or is this a change of attitude for the United States? We'll see. I think sometimes Donald Trump says big words, but we've seen a trade like he pulls back a little bit. So I think this is more wait and see than panic. But if it's a change in our stance, it's a big deal.
Jim, I mean, it's to do with this so-called warrior ethos. Is it inflammatory at all, or is the renaming in any way, do you believe, related to the seemingly united front in China that we saw a couple of days ago?
Yeah, so I think what we've seen in the last couple of weeks, particularly in the last week of China, is a very worrisome sea change in the balance of power, particularly in Asia. I never would have guessed that we would see Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping, Kim from North Korea, and Modi from India together hugging each other. And, 2 weeks earlier, we saw Donald Trump roll out the red carpet for Vladimir Putin, and they were laughing at him. So I don't think changing Department of Defense to Department of War is going to mean anything for those four countries. It might mean something for Venezuela or some of the smaller nations, Greenland. But China, it feels like China just got the upper hand, has outplayed America in this game of chess over the last week.
Jim, what makes you say that China has got the upper hand?
Well, India and China have been in a conflict really since 1962. Not constantly, but this has been a nation at tension. They fought in 1962 in a region known as Aksai Chin in the Himalaya Mountains, and they've had border disputes ever since, as recently as a year or two ago. And India has always been a bit of a counterbalance to China in that region, at least as far as America is concerned. Now, because of tariffs that Trump imposed on India, really severe tariffs, India was driven into the arms of China. So that's a change. And India is a rising nation. So it's got over 1 billion people. It's on the move economically. It feels like they just took our bishop and we won a pawn.
It is a real game of chess, isn't it? I mean, the President Trump also said some comments after China's military parade that he believes China, Russia and North Korea are conspiring against the US. I mean, China is really trying to position itself as a counterweight to the US after those Trump tariffs, as you just spoke about. Beijing, though, has shown off its military might. We saw it perfectly and precisely choreographed at this military parade. What stood out the most to you or concerned you, Jim?
What concerned me less is what China is doing, because I'm already familiar with what China is doing more or less. What concerns me is if you're going to say between now and a year ago, does America have stronger or weaker relationships with NATO and Europe? I'd say weaker. Do we have stronger or weaker relationships with our allies in Japan and in Australia, in that region? I'd say they're all weaker. Certainly with India, it's weaker. So in a time when China is rising and their alliances are solidifying and gaining new friends, America is losing friends and our alliances are fraying. That's what concerns me.
Jim, a really important point that you make there about India's influence. I want to get your thoughts, because this is big news for us here in Australia. Our Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, has finally secured a phone call with President Trump. I have to say, we're pretty happy about this. It's progress, at least.
Yeah, and look, the United States and Australia, we should have a perfect relationship, between the two countries. And, you look at the trade situation between the United States and Australia, really in the last 25 years, like, okay, there was the beef issue, which is now resolved, but U.S. and Australia has had a wonderful trade relationship, particularly from an American point of view. We actually have a trade surplus with Australia, and we have great security agreements there. You just hope that these conversations that the prime minister is going to have with the president doesn't devolve into something that bounces the wrong way, which has happened. So, good luck is my wish to Australia.
Well, we have no in-person meeting yet, but hopefully we will see that happen at the upcoming UN General Assembly. I mean, Sky News Washington correspondent Annalise Nielsen was talking this morning. She was actually told by a source that Australia just simply isn't getting more attention because we're not the problem child. Would you agree with that?
Yes, Australia is not the problem child. At the same time, I didn't think Greenland was the problem child. And, I didn't think Denmark was the problem child. Like, you don't know until they decide. And so I do feel that Donald Trump and his team feels like chaos and keeping people off balance is one of his strategic tools into winning negotiations. But if you look at where America is right now, particularly vis-a-vis China, it seems like China has outplayed us in this game by being predictable and solid, while America is unpredictable and kind of insecure in its relationships with other countries. And I think that matters. And it could matter with Australia. Who knows what Donald Trump's going to say? I cannot predict.
Well, as I said, hopefully we get that in-person meeting. Jim, just before I let you go, Joe Biden, there's some concerns about his health. Have you heard anything?
Only what I saw in the news, and obviously I wish Joe Biden well. Let me just make a political point on this. Joe Biden had no business running for re-election at his age and in the health condition that he had, even at the time when he made that choice, and what you would anticipate for anybody in their 80s. And this underscores that it was a poor decision that put the Democrats in a deep hole.
OK, Jim Kessler, we'll leave it there for today. Always great to chat with you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.